Hello, hello, hello. This is episode 111 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. Of course, you know that I am your host, Jazz Bennett, mother, educational leader, and also event and podcast host. Listen, I have a couple of announcements for you on this fantastic Monday. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being a part of my Jazzy crew. I could not do this show without you, and so I am forever grateful for those of you who tune in every Monday. I think we were thinking alike. I'm looking and I'm like, we were showing up thinking alike, and that is a good sign. That's already a good sign. Ask Tia. When Tia did my show, she and I had on yellow, and I was like, okay, this is a good sign.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by letting you know that this is an award-winning podcast. This is not just a podcast. I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and I am very blessed that this podcast is an award-winning podcast. And in this space, I celebrate the power of the comeback. And so I speak to a myriad of guests who have one thing in common, and that is the power of the comeback. I believe that everyone has a comeback story, and I believe that you can make a comeback with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the work. So I am so glad that you chose this podcast on this Monday to tune into. If you'd like to be a special guest on my podcast, and if you'd like for me to host your special event, from baby showers to corporate events to brunches to fashion shows, all of the above and everything in between, all you have to do is book me. If you have a business or you have a service and you want to advertise it on my podcast, I've got you. Listen, here's what you do. All you do is email me, Jazzie, that's Jazzie, conversationswithjazz@gmail.com. Listen for the phone number, y'all. I wish I had a sound effect for a drum roll, but I don't. So, I'm just making it with my mouth. I don't know. See, she does it so much better. So, you can also contact me at 863-338-6604. Again, that number is 863-338-6604, and I can help you with all of those before mentioned needs. Listen, you know that I am so involved in education, right? And so we have an election coming up. We have a seat that's coming available on our Polk County School Board. And so I have a candidate that you definitely want to pay attention to, because on August 20th, all of us need to head out to the polls, and I need for you to vote for this one special candidate. He is no stranger to our Polk County School Board at all. He was an ambassador to the superintendent when he was in high school, and he's continued to do community service and serve his community from that time until now. Who am I speaking about? I am speaking about Mr. M.J. Wright, the right choice for all. He is running for District 2. So put him in that seat for District 2. That's in that Four Corners area, the Davenport, Haines City, Poinciana, all of those areas. We want to see Mr. M.J. Wright successfully get that seat. So make sure you are ready to vote, you're registered to vote, and you get to the polls on August 20th. All right? So I see that we are on Facebook. Y'all look so good out there in Facebook land. How you doing? I want you to tell us where you are watching us from, where you're listening from. I want you to just give us a motivational word on this Monday, because you know I love Mondays. Instagram, I see you too. And YouTube, I will see you a little later when we repost this on YouTube, and then also on your favorite podcast platform, because you know how we do. We're just everywhere. So you need to subscribe. I know you see someone sitting beside me. I know you do. She's just as beautiful as ever. We were thinking alike. we were synced telepathically. We didn't even know it. But we came dressed like we were coming to see the Black Panther. The Black Panther premiere, and I'm loving it. Listen, I'm going to introduce you. Can I give you a proper introduction? Absolutely. I'm going to give her a proper introduction, because I have the pleasure, I have the absolute honor of introducing my special guest for episode 111. And y'all know how I feel about those angel numbers 111. So this is very special, okay? with me, I have Miss Regina Moran. Miss Regina has dedicated, y'all, almost 3 decades. For those of, I'm just gonna assume that you know what decades are. I had somebody ask me what was a decade, but that's okay. I love him so much with all my heart. So almost 30 years serving, you guys, with, I will say, not only just the community, but here, but serving abroad as well, but serving with law enforcement. 30 years in law enforcement. And she rose through the ranks. Get this. Not only did she rise through the ranks, but she became the first African American female lieutenant in the history of the Polk County Sheriff's Office. The first African American female lieutenant at the Sheriff's Office in Polk County. That is amazing, and it is so apropos for Black History Month. This is just a testament to her dedication, her perseverance, and her leadership abilities. I wanted to really stick a pin there because I'm going to let you do the honors of telling more about yourself. But I am so elated to have you on my show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show because she's so much more than that. But I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for the podcast. So how are you, Miss Regina?
Well, I am well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I do want to clarify that I have 25 years of law enforcement service with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. And I am the first patrol lieutenant at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. We have other lieutenants at the rank of lieutenant in the jail, but I am the one and only first. Still, there have been no more. To this day, there have been no more at the rank of patrol lieutenant on the road.
So in the cars, y'all. I'm pretty sure you saw her. I'm pretty sure you did. And it's such a funny story. And we'll get into it a little later, but when we spoke earlier, like you made me chuckle so much when you said when you applied for this job, you didn't really necessarily get the concept that you were about to be the police. And you were just like, okay, I just applied for this job and I am going to be the police. And so now that you look back on that, how does that make you feel?
Actually, it was pretty amazing. The information on that story, how that went was, many of you may or may not know Captain Grant at the time. He was the recruiter for the Polk County Sheriff's Office. And so he came around and he was doing my background in my neighborhood. Well, he came and he asked he said, I don't have any openings as a deputy sheriff. I'm sorry, as a detention officer, but I do have an opening as a deputy sheriff. And I was like, sign me up already. Sign me up. Yes. So when he left, I had to, I got on the phone, called the friend and everything, and I asked, what's a deputy sheriff? Right. Because had he said the police,
something would have been a little different.
It might have been different, but they explained it to me and I understood it. So I tell that story sometimes. It's funny to me too. It's
funny. I recently, with Leadership Lakeland, I was telling you this before, like when we spoke in our first conversation, we were able to explore different areas of law enforcement, and there's so many different areas that I didn't know about, because that would be my question, because if it's not the actual police, or if it's not the captain or the chief of police, those in between, I'm a little iffy on the ranks. So can you give us like a brief overview of like your ranking? How do you work your way up?
So you begin as a cadet in the academy.
Okay.
The academy, I can't remember, it's 4 to 6 months. Once you graduate the academy, then you become, and you get certified, you take your test, you become a deputy sheriff.
Okay.
So once you become a deputy sheriff, you train, or you're on the road for so long, and then you have the rank of sergeant, you have the rank of lieutenant, you have the rank of being captain, major, and after major, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but
it's okay.
Major,
it's okay.
Chief, and then sheriff.
Sheriff.
And if I got that wrong, mind your business.
Please do, because we're sitting here at almost 30
That's
years, right? You've earned, a mistake here and there,
Thank you.
and that's so minor. I do just reminds me, when I was at an event last year, I saw one of my classmates, and then I saw a post that you had not too long ago. But it's so funny, and I always tell people, I tell my sons this all the time, to just be careful about like the way that you treat people, but also be careful about the relationships that you make, because I'm always talking to them about, relationships, like the people that you are friends with in elementary. You never know what you're going to end up being later on in life. And so this is a perfect situation with that. I saw one of your posts, and I met him again. I hadn't seen him in so long since middle school, but Ian Floyd, who is actually the chief of police right now, and it's like to see him, his growth from middle school, like we're just middle school kids, and you know how middle school kids are. I call middle school kids, y'all are a little uneven when it comes to the hormones, special. And so you look special, little touch. We love y'all, love you so much. But I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, wow, this boy that I used to go to school with and walk the halls with every day, like you are literally the chief of police, like, and you're like the chief of police is right under the sheriff. So that's just amazing. So I just want to say, if you get to see this podcast episode, because we have still a lot of mutual friends, you're probably not on Facebook, but congratulations, sir. And so listen, I'm amazed at your journey. I'm amazed at your journey because you are a first. I'm amazed at your journey because this is not where you intended to land, but you were so successful in it. I'm amazed at your journey because this journey was one where you never gave up, hence your perseverance. And I'm amazed at your journey because you are a prime example that you don't have to do one thing in this life, that you can do multiple things and be successful in multiple avenues in this life if you just follow your calling and follow your purpose. Because we're going to talk about another career path that you're on, but I want to start with giving you your flowers. And I wish I would have had some flowers because I love flowers. Give you one of these plants around here. But I wish I would have had like some real flowers because the older I get and the more I start to really, really treasure relationships, treasure emotions, at any given point, we never know what anybody's going through, right?
True.
And so I think that being the light for someone is such a positive thing, and it's such a blessing when someone can be that. And I was just really thinking about the special people that are in my life and the people who are just able to just have that gene of just being genuine and kind and nice. And I'm not necessarily such a gift giver. That kind of is my love language, but it's not necessarily the love language that I just is number one to receive.
Right.
But here are your flowers. I was telling Regina, and I said this in a post earlier, that I don't know Regina personally, all right? You know how we come across people who have a social media presence and they just illuminate, and you are like, you're glued to them because it's like you start following rabbit holes and you follow their journey. And so it's so great that you are using your social media presence in your career that you're doing now. So this is how I came across Regina. I came across Regina because, honey, this fabulous trip that they took to Dubai, Miss Tina. It did. And so there's like, is it the flowing dresses? So it's the flowing dresses photo shoot that you can take when you go to Dubai, which is still on my bucket list because all I'm doing is trying to pick out the color that I want. I think I've settled on purple since that's my favorite because I will be going to Dubai. But when I say, like, her pictures just all of a sudden started coming across my timeline, and I'm like, and her hair is flowing. I love how you pay homage to your natural gray hair, like you're not afraid of letting it age you, because she definitely, y'all know Country Wayne has this character that he deals with, and I can't think of her name right now, but listen, this is our Polk County one, okay? Because sis is bad. Now, I ain't let her walk on this camera for a reason. I ain't let her walk on camera. Her husband is in the other room. I don't want him being mad at me because y'all youngins, y'all know how y'all like cougars and stuff. I didn't let her walk on here purposely because the stomach is flat and everything else is just intact. But listen, She's beautiful. Look, I see the comments, and y'all know that she is. So I don't mind giving a woman her props when I can. But I just think she is drop dead gorgeous, and it's just I feel like it's effortless. Like, and you pay honor to your age and to your knowledge, and it's like your wisdom at this point. But I'm telling you, if you are friends with her, but y'all already saw it, because I'm pretty sure if y'all were friends with her, y'all already saw that photo shoot I'm talking about. But she's just amazing. I just think that you're beautiful, and I appreciate your beauty just not being on the outside, but also being on the inside. And so I just wanted to give you your flowers on that. I'm serious too now.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm very serious. You're most welcome. So let's get into it. Where are you from, Regina?
Winter Haven.
You're from Winter Haven. From
Winter Haven, born and raised.
Okay, what side of Winter Haven? Like what? I know we on in Bartow we say you on the west side,
Avenue
east side.
Y is where I was born.
Okay.
Mother and father were living in off of Avenue Y.
Okay.
So that's where I was born and raised for the most part, and then we moved over to G Heights.
All right,
Bartow.
all right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you coming in my territory. Okay, G Heights. We know all about that. So did you ever have like any aspirations to go outside of Polk County that maybe, one of those questions where it's like, are you kidding me? Yes, who doesn't? But some people are just homebodies. Some people just really, really love it here. And it's like, there's no place that I want to go other than here. But did you see yourself somewhere other than Polk County?
Jazz, I never really thought about it as far as, when I was coming along and being raised in Gordon Heights.
Yeah.
I wanted to, going out of town was like going to Orlando.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go to Tampa. My dad lived in Orlando when I was young, so that was like the as far as I was concerned, Orlando was it. Mm-hmm. But as I grew older and got married and had kids and stuff, you kind of begin to want to travel then. But I've always wanted to live here in Central Florida, and my parents are still here, and I still plan to be here for a while.
I got that vibe from you. Like I just got that vibe from you. Like and I love people who are like that because those are the people that I think genuinely are supposed to be here serving the community. Like that just lends itself to what your purpose is and how much more of an asset you are because you stay here. It's not like you're a transplant or you leave and you come back. You're in it. You're steady here, so you're able to see it grow. And I'm in 30 years, and we're talking way more than 30 years. I ain't gonna tell you because y'all, she's 29. She's gonna forever be 29, like she said in her post. Okay.
Mind your business.
Right, mind your business. Okay. But you've been able to give back so much to the community, and so just like tell us, like what brought you to law enforcement? Because I know that you said that you went through a time. It was a struggle at a time, and it was almost like you had to do something. So walk us through that journey. What was that like?
Well, that's kind of how it started. I graduated from high school, and as I told you before, when I graduated from high school, I really didn't have any plans on what I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it, or nothing really. I just knew in my household you had to graduate. We didn't talk about college. We didn't talk about, the next steps. I'm sure my mom wanted me to be doing something, but she just never verbalized it. So I had to be able to say, to my friends, well, I'm going to college too, because my friends had older brothers and sisters, and they were all headed off to college. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do something. Right. I gotta be able to tell my friends that I'm going to college too. Right. And I look at that as, positive peer pressure, because that's really what got me going and headed to college because of my friends. So like you said earlier, association with your children, telling them that association can be, a very pivotal thing for them. So anyway, I got to college. I went to Polk State College over in Winter Haven. I got a volleyball scholarship. Okay. And I was doing a darn thing. Yes. And so sometime through that episode, I got pregnant with my daughter, and then I got pregnant again later on, about a year or so later. They're about a year and a half apart. I got pregnant with my son, and So now I'm, I got to do something.
Right.
Right. I'm living with my mom. She's taking care of really all of us.
Yeah.
And I have a job, but it's like at Winn-Dixie or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was working another little retail job, but it wasn't paying no bills or anything.
Yeah.
I was on government assistant, so I was receiving food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
I was receiving just monies, whatever I could get to help take care of my kids, right? So,
because were there dads in the picture at this time where it was like, it's on me?
Yeah, it was on me.
Yeah,
it was on me and my mom for the most part,
mm-hmm.
and so we just made it happen. And so eventually, I put in for an application at one time for the sheriff's office, and I never got a response. So I was like, well, it must not be meant to
mm-hmm.
happen. And so I just moved on. I moved on with life. I just kind of got, in the midst of just kind of trying to find myself, trying to find a job, trying to find something to support these kids.
Right.
And when you living with your mama, I don't know if anybody, I'm sure y'all know Irene.
I was about to say Ann.
Yeah.
No, I'm not, but yeah.
And if you know Irene, you're going to have to get you a job and get somewhere and do something.
Absolutely.
And I ain't going to be able to stay there forever. Right?
Exactly.
Because my mama is not playing no games.
Right.
So, eventually, time passes. I do get married at one point, and that ended in a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just really struggling. I'm just trying to figure out, what am I going to do to take care of these kids?
Yeah.
It's not my mom's responsibility. It's not their grandparents on the, their dad's side responsibility. And I didn't have any other assistance. And I had to, I had to do what I had to do.
How do you, when you go back and you think about that, because I know that there are so many women who are in that situation right now. I feel like I'm in that situation a lot of the times, to be quite honest with you. It's like, it's just you feel like it's just all on me. Like if I don't make it, what's gonna happen? And thankfully, like they do have a father that I truly believe, like if I did hit rock bottom, I believe that I could literally just send them off to him and he'd handle it. Like I'm gonna say that. So I do have that safety net. However, that doesn't take the pressure off of me. But also I know that your pressure was made way heavier than mine. But for someone who, you're expected to do so much, like you are expected to, you've gone to college, you have these kids, what are you gonna do? It's like you still feel that it's all on you if you have like main custody of your kids. And so what does that weight feel like for you?
Well,
because people want us to remain soft, be in your, still be feminine and all that. It's like, no, this is do or die right now. Like, I gotta make something happen.
And that's really the way it felt. It felt like, I gotta do something. I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on my mom.
Yeah.
I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure. Now, a lot of this was me talking to myself in my head, because my mom never said, get out.
Yep.
She never said, I'm just sick of you. Although she might have said that. But I don't know if it had anything to do with,
No,
she was sick of me for some other thing.
I ain't gonna let her do you like that. You ain't say that.
Y'all know. But anyway, it was just a lot of pressure. It was a lot, on me to feel like my mama did such a great job with taking care of not only me and my sisters. I have 2 other sisters, but she even took in we had like 3 cousins that came to live with us. And because they were in foster care, and she went and got them, and it's like, she was doing so much.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I had to do something. I couldn't just be there and, these were my kids.
Right.
I had to take care of them. And that's how I felt. I felt like that was my responsibility.
So you get this, you put in your application to the sheriff's office. You don't hear back for a while. So you're going through the rigmarole of what you're going to do. But then you did get a call. And so what did that feel like, and how did you proceed from that point?
Well, by this time, as I said, I was divorced, and so I was back living with my mom again, and I was just like, bring it on.
Yeah, just anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
I didn't care if it was I didn't care if I had to wash the dishes in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I didn't care if it was, a secretary. It didn't matter to me. At that point, I needed a job. And so, like I said, I went through the process, did what I had to do. I had to do interviews, and I had some help along the way. And like I said, Captain Grant came out. He did the neighborhood canvas, and that's when I learned that I would be becoming a deputy sheriff.
The deputy sheriff.
That's when I learned that I'd be becoming a deputy sheriff. Right. And from there, it was just, I told my mom about it. She was pretty excited. I was pretty excited to be able to tell her that this is something, that I'm fixing to do. And through the academy, it was just, that was, it was rough too, because it was something new.
Yeah, and you said it's some months, right?
Right. It was like, I'm thinking when I went through, again, this was about almost 25, 29 years ago. Yeah, it was about four months or so, as I recall.
Okay.
But it seemed like forever.
So because we've seen movies that have tried to depict what the police academy looks like, but what is the police academy? Because girl, listen, I went to a training facility where, and I know this is not the police academy, but maybe it is, like when they go through sniper routines, what to do if you're in a hostage situation. They took us through the drills that they have to go through, but what does police academy entail? Like, are we staying there like dorms? Are we going and we coming back every day? Like, are we isolated? Because when I think about it, I'm like, it's kind of like Army-ish. What's the police academy?
We was going home. We went home every day.
Okay.
We had to be there typically around 8 o'clock in the morning when I was going through. We had to be there around 8 o'clock in the morning. You spent your day mostly in the books.
Okay.
You had a lot of reading to do. There was a lot of lecturing. You had a test pretty much every week or so, maybe every other week. But we had a lot of tests. You had to memorize and learn things quickly. There was everybody asked, is there any running? And sometimes how do you see? Well, there was some running.
There's some running.
I don't want to fool y'all to make you think that, we was hiking up trails and, jumping over. There was some jumping going on.
Okay.
There was some running taking place. But it definitely is doable. Okay. Definitely doable. And so that's pretty much how it went. You went to class every day. You learned how to put on a uniform. You learned what to look like in a uniform, what a uniform is supposed to look like on you. You came in, you had rules, you had regulations, you had to be on time. You had to pass those tests. Why did you have to pass those tests? For me, I was being sponsored by the sheriff's office, and that was my check. Okay. That was the beginning of my career. So if I didn't pass those tests every week, then they put you out of the academy.
Oh, wow. Is it a certain percentage, or is it like every test you have got to pass it, or if you don't pass it?
As I recall, again, this was almost 30 years ago. You could only, if I remember correctly, you could only fail or have one retake. Okay. So it was paramount
you had to do
that you passed your test. It's like, and basically how I did it was I just came home and I read after class every day. So long story short, I got through the academy, and now it's training day. Y'all remember training day, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So then we get to training day. So once you're out of the academy, then you have to transition. You get your uniform, so you don't actually have your green uniform as far as your patrol uniform. You get all of your gear, your gun, another thing I meant to mention.
Because I was about to ask you about this gun now, because I'm like, listen.
I know.
I'm trying to make sure.
I know. I know my friend said when I told her, one of my friends, I ain't gonna even mention her name. But,
she knows who she is though.
She said, when she learned that I was going through the academy, she said, girl, they gave you a gun? I was just as shocked as she was.
Right.
Yeah, they sure did. They gave me a gun.
Yes.
And guess what? I had never shot a gun before. I had never shot a firearm of any kind. Mm-hmm. So now I'm learning how to shoot a handgun and a shotgun. Mm-hmm. And so that was an experience all in itself. Yeah. So I had some tries and some retries, but I got it. Good. Yeah. So, but yeah, once you get out of the academy and you get on the road to train with your trainer, you get all your gear, and then it's go time. Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to me about a situation where you had to put those skills to use, because we're not talking about a short stint or, you know, with the sheriff's office. Regina has had 25 years with the sheriff's office. So have you ever had to use your gun at any time?
I have never had to use it in the sense where I had to shoot anyone, if that's
like life or death.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's never been a situation where I had to shoot anyone. Have I had to draw my gun? Yes, I have. Mm-hmm. The most important thing that you have to remember when you're in law enforcement, actually in life, practicing in life, is your ability to communicate. Mm-hmm. When you're in a situation and people are upset, the best thing for you to do, the best thing for you to learn is how to communicate and how to de-escalate a situation where it doesn't continue to get out of control. So those were some of the things that we learned in the academy, and those are some of the things that you're just going to learn as you're, working and you're on the road, because you're going to go to a lot of situations, what we call 10-8-22, mm-hmm. which is a heightened situation, and it's just a verbal argument that could go bad. You learn how to talk. Yeah. You learn how to speak to people, and you learn how to calm them down and de-escalate the situation. That's the most important part of any career in law enforcement, learning how to talk and learning how to de-escalate.
Yeah. So take us through this step of, you are the first African American female patrol lieutenant. And I just know that even going back to his historical figures, every first anything in terms of African American has come with trials, have come with tribulations, and I've always felt that, and some of it has just come with glory, right? But I feel like behind that is a lot of work. It's a lot of things that you have to really just act like a raincoat and just let some things go. I've always said, Jazz, could you be put in a situation of adversity, etc. And I'm giving these negative connotations, whereas it may not have been that route for you. But I just know that even in education, like when you're like that first African American administrator in a very long time, or even if you're that first one, I'm sorry, but hell is gonna follow you. You're gonna catch it. You are going to go through some trials and some tribulations based off of the fact that you are an African American female, that you're African American. And so it just comes with the territory, and I'm being very real. I'm not sugarcoating anything. It is hard to be the first at anything. And so how was that journey for you? And you're in a male-dominated field. I'm just trying to, this whole time I've been gearing up for this interview, I've been like, what did you have to go through? Because it is glorious, and you get your flowers for it. And if that is still the case, that she's still the first to this day, sis, what came with that title?
Well, let's unpack that first for a moment. One of the reasons, and sometimes I've often asked myself, why do I even care? Yeah. But one of the reasons that I stayed in law enforcement for as long as I did is, first of all, I felt like, once I got there, it's like, where else am I going to go?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have a plan, but I do feel like that was God's plan for me. I do believe that your steps are ordered by the Lord because, like I said, I wasn't looking to be in law enforcement. I wasn't trying to be nobody police. I wasn't trying to carry a gun. I hadn't seen a gun. But it was just being the first. This is actually, on this podcast, is the first time outside of, with some of my friends at work and my husband, that we actually publicly have said and told anyone, not that it's a secret, that I am the first and only Black female, African American female patrol lieutenant at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. That I want to see change.
Yeah.
Because
why not?
Exactly.
Because why not?
Exactly. We need more women, Black, African American females in law enforcement.
Yeah.
That is one of my passions. That is one of the reasons why I hesitated even when it was time to retire, because it can be difficult when you're the only person, the only female there. Now let me also say this: I stand on the shoulders of giants like Lieutenant Junebug, Lieutenant Smith, he has passed on, Sergeant Mary Campbell, Joe Hallman was there. It was so many, and I don't want to name a lot of names, but a lot of those people came long before I did. Mary Campbell happened to be the sergeant. She was the first Black female sergeant at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. She was also the first and only Black female captain.
Wow.
So she skipped over the rank of lieutenant, and she was appointed as a captain. So that's a big deal. But when I got there, she was still there, and that was kind of my mentor, somebody that I could look up and ask questions and be like, because whenever you go to any organization or you start something that's new to you, you need to see somebody that looks like you. And I think it's important with the sheriff's office I think it's important for our agency to reflect more women that look like me. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And it's not that the agency isn't trying, it's that we don't typically flock to a career in law enforcement.
Yeah.
So,
and when we had our session there, they talked about the different avenues of recruitment, of how they would go from state to state to recruit for law enforcement, which I think like those tactics it shows an array of methods, that it doesn't just focus on one demographic. Like you're going to different states, you're going to different opportunities, you're going to different agencies to hire qualified cadets, first of all, because you have to go through the police academy. And so that lonely, I did it feel lonely at times?
It felt, when you say alone, I felt like, I had comrades. There were other people there that I could talk to. Mary was there, and I could bounce things off of her. It just felt different. I don't want to say lonely. I felt like I was fighting.
Okay.
And the fight was simply because, it just seemed like I gotta climb higher. I gotta run faster. I gotta be smarter. I gotta, I gotta do more, and I gotta do more in order to prove that I belong here.
Black women everywhere watching this podcast, watch this question. You are in a male domineering and dominating career.
Right.
Where you have to be forceful. Was it okay to be direct?
Oh, absolutely.
Was it okay to be assertive?
Absolutely.
Was it okay to be the boss?
Absolutely.
For once?
Absolutely.
Without somebody saying you're the angry Black female in the office. Was it okay, sis?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The most important part.
Let me go to law enforcement. Where do I sign up, please? I'm just playing with you.
The most important part when you're talking about being in law enforcement,
Yeah.
you have to make sure that your presence is respected, is known. When you go to a call for service and everybody is, you know, just going crazy and upset and screaming and yelling, if I gotta come out there, because I didn't want to come to your house in the first place.
Right.
Put that out there. I didn't want to come to your house in the first place.
Yes.
But now that I'm here, and I tell the cadets that I tutor, I tell the people that I mentor, when you get there, you must own the scene.
Yeah.
There is no let somebody else do it, or you wait for somebody else to call. When I get to the scene, it's mine. I own it. And you finna do what I say to do, or we gonna have some situations. I'm gonna always be able to talk, because I'm gonna talk to you like, you know, I want somebody to be talking to my family when I get on scene. But when I get on scene, I own that scene.
Yeah.
That's why it's important when law enforcement shows up, and I tell the people that I mentor, the cadets and all of this, when you get there, your uniform needs to be clean before you get there. Whatever you ate, make sure it ain't laying on your shirt. When you present yourself, make sure that, you know, your shirts are tucked in, your shoes look decent, and if they're a little dusty, hopefully you just ran a track with a dog or something, and you getting them cleaned up. But look like, I think you told me this too, look like you want to present yourself like you want to, but look like you own something.
Look like you own something. Be that dress how you want, whatever you want to do. That's what you dress for.
And when you dress in uniform, make sure that you command authority, because that's important when you're especially when you're in law enforcement. You must command authority. You must get on the scene, and you must command the scene. So. And
I said that. I said that being a little comical, but also being very serious, because we're thrown into spaces, and not even thrown, but we work our way up the ranks, and we work our way up to a certain point where, you know, even when it's time to have those tough or hard conversations, or even when we're just being, sometimes it is just hard to be, because you have people judging you left and right, anticipating, oh, well, she's this, or she doesn't talk to everyone, or she. It's like, it's so draining, especially when your heart and your passion is in something, and you're just anticipated to be that angry Black woman in the office. And it's unfair, but it is a common theme that we all go through. So I just wanted to know if you dealt with that, because I'm like, if it's any profession that I need that in, when it's time to be assertive on the scene, not building a bridge with community and the police, but when it's just time to get the job done and keep us safe, then I understand that.
Right. It's very
important. If a male
important.
cadet or somebody tests your gangster with your position,
I'm
trying to get there, like
it's very seldom that I felt like, you know, those that work for me, I think that if you talk to them, that they would tell you, I tried to listen. I tried to treat them like I wanted to be treated. I always tried to, I didn't like to hold knowledge from them, because sometimes when you get in a particular situation or a career, sometimes people are holding all this knowledge, and it was like there was a lot of information once I became a supervisor, that it was like, oh, that's why we do this, or that's why, you know, and I didn't get a lot of that information until I became a supervisor. And I was like, why are we holding on to this? So I made sure that my deputies knew this is what we needed for a call out. This is why we do this. If they asked me a question about a particular call for service, I would make sure, tell me what the statute says first. You know, it's like, because I felt like it was my job to educate them, because I always said, when I get to 25 years, I'm leaving. And I always told them, I ain't gonna be here forever. And it was important for me, when I left the agency, for those that were working for me, for them to be able to do it on their own. And for them to, because a lot of times I got, you know, different people, different deputies that were their self-esteem had been beat down so much, and it's not just women, men too.
Yeah.
Their self-esteem had been beat down so much because this is a hard job.
Yeah.
And sometimes people within the law enforcement community, they make the job so much harder than it has to be. And so it's just my goal to make sure that the deputies that served with me, that they knew that they could come to me, we could talk it over, we could figure it out. I didn't have all the answers,
Yes.
but I knew how to find them. And that's what I wanted them to learn too. Know how to find the information that you need, because I ain't gonna always be here.
Right. And I love that aspect of it. And even after 25 years, you guys, I love what your next venture is, because you're not just letting it go away. Although she is retired, very much so retired.
Very much so.
You love this career so much that you went and you're going through a coaching cycle right now, because tell everybody what you are gearing up to do for law enforcement officers.
Well, my goal I'm taking some coaching classes right now, and one of my goals is to become a coach for those that are entering the profession of law enforcement. I want to be able to help them bridge the gap of insecurities and just not understanding and feeling less than, and just kind of helping them along the way.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that I didn't know. My mama didn't know anything about law enforcement, not on that. Anyway,
Yes. Yes.
But we knew about law enforcement,
Yes.
but it wasn't in the sense of us going to an academy or anything like that. We saw the police. I mean, we done called the police before. So I mean, the police
dressed as one
police.
in Halloween, and
and I didn't.
Yeah,
but I didn't know anything really about the police.
Right.
Ironically, I have a cousin. Her name is Kiva Harris from Haines City. She's got a lot of firsts too. First female captain over at the Haines City Police Department.
Congratulations!
Matter of fact, she was the first female hired at the Haines City Police Department.
That's
first
amazing.
female and the first female captain anyway to rise
That's
to the
amazing.
ranks
I
and
love
so on
that.
and so forth. So ironically, we didn't talk a lot going through the process of law enforcement until we got a little ways on with our careers. But that is my new assignment, God-given assignment, just to help new cadets, new deputies, and even seasoned deputies. Just kind of, there are other things that you can do. There are other things that law enforcement is not the end all be all, although it's a great profession, and I love to see more African American females enter that profession. But I just want to help bridge the gap. There was a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know anything about shooting guns or anything like that, and I digress to let my husband, who is still with the Polk County Sheriff's Office, he's a patrol lieutenant with the Polk County Sheriff's Office, I let him do all that gun stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what he loved doing, and he's also helping me with bridge that gap and to help, bring in cadets that need a little reinforcement, just a little bit of assistance, just a little bit of a guidance, just a little bit of somebody saying, hey, you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this.
Good. I think that's amazing. I think it's great when we've had successes, and then you have that knowledge and you're giving that skill set back to those who are coming behind you. I think that is absolutely amazing. I want to be able to hear or tap back into you when you say, Jazz, we have another. I'm not the first, or I'm not the only one anymore. Right. So I think that if your program can foster that to happen, that would be absolutely amazing. And I think it will do that. I think people seeing you now, people knowing that now that more people will know this about you, I just think that that's going to be something that's going to happen in the near future.
I was also going to mention, for those that might be thinking about a career in law enforcement, there are so many different aspects that you can do in the realm of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, at the police departments. Even in my career, I had 7 different assignments as a deputy sheriff. Okay. And I've worked in cops, I've worked in investigations, missing persons. It's just a variety of things that you can do. I've worked as a recruiter for the Polk County Sheriff's Office. there's just a variety of things that you can do within your organization, and it doesn't keep you where you feel like, man, am I gonna be doing this one thing my whole career? It's not like that, and there's so many different things that you can do, so many different avenues that you can take. So I want to put that out there as well.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Of course, you guys can Google this. You can find out, but I'm just gonna ask you directly. How competitive is the salary? Because I, and then we're gonna segue into what you're doing as well now. But I'll go through like a lot of new subdivisions, and I'm like, okay, there's a sheriff's car here, there's a sheriff's car here, and I'm loving this house. How much money does the police make that you are pulling up at a house like this? So is it worth it? Like, is it a competitive career where if you climb the ranks as a competitive salary to say that, yeah, I'm making a comfortable living?
I think so. I mean, I did it for 25 years, and that's how we ate. I don't remember what the starting salary is right now off the top of my head, but what you can do is you can definitely Google that.
Yes.
And go to the website for the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and it is very competitive.
Yeah.
You have even the city department. Some of the cities pay very well as well. Also, so I mean, and you don't have to just be at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Although, you know, if you need me, I'm here.
Right.
But I help you with any department.
Right.
That just happened to be my love.
Okay.
That's where I came from. That's where I got my start. But there's so many different wonderful agencies that I've worked with, and you know, as a patrol officer, as a supervisor, they are great. So you don't have to just go to one agency. Okay. There are many agencies that you can get involved in, and
good
and the
information.
salary is good. Yes,
Good information.
We make a good salary. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, if you was trying to get you a Maybach, it might take a minute.
It might take you a little minute.
Just saying.
So that's good information to know. Good information to know. I'm gonna segue into another career path that you are definitely soaring at. But before that, I want to give flowers to Miss Tia Crockett, because I didn't know Tia was a part of your story. I see Tia every Tuesday when she's giving her motivational. When she's doing her motivationals in the mornings, I'll catch her because she's up right in the morning, and she gives it to us. And of course, she was a past guest on the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast, and she vowed, she's like, Jazz, we got to do another episode. So maybe Tia, this is the catalyst to get you on sooner than later. But you mentioned that Tia played an intricate role in the making of the woman that you are now. Can you expound upon how her services helped you?
So Tia is your coach, his prophet. And when I met Tia, I was just at the cusp of retiring. Okay. And you know, sometimes when you're working in a career for such a long time, you know, you forget who you are. Sometimes you don't even know when you get started. So in the process of going through retirement and, you know, working at the Polk County Sheriff's Office for 25 years, that's who I was. I didn't know who I was. This is like, and then when I started working, it was like, who am I? Right. Who am I? You know, and I didn't have I really hadn't really thought about it. And I ran across Eddie Crockett, who was in investments, and I was trying to take care of some things with retirement, so I used him to help me with that. And then he talked about his wife that was doing, he said something about she was on a women's retreat, doing something. They were taking some women off, and they went on a ship or boat somewhere.
Yes.
And I was like, well, who is that? Where they went? Can I get a ticket? And I was thinking to myself at the time, honestly, I was like, I've been looking for this all my life. Mm-hmm. So, and that's really, Tia was very pivotal in my being here today before you. It was just helping me to understand and dial in and try to figure out who I really am. Yeah. And now I am on the journey of still discovering and becoming, but I'm so much further than where I was when I started, because I mean, the day after retirement, I was like,
yeah,
just kind of sitting there,
yes,
like,
yes.
You know, I'm normally up. I had to be to work at 5:30, so 3:30 I was up and moving, and so your eyes still open at the same time right after retirement.
Yes.
And now it's time for you to figure out, what am I gonna do?
What you gonna do, right?
And so I started a Do Well Daily Devotional that Tia put on. We did a couple of those, and that's really how the journey begins.
So I just, as you are sitting here and you are going through this journey with Regina and I want to continue to remind you, this show is all about the power of the comeback, and it's not just for women, it's for men as well. And it's never too late to discover who you are. It is never too late to make a comeback. Sometimes we bend, we don't break. Sometimes we take different avenues. Sometimes things don't work. Sometimes there's a success story in your failure. You learn from those. All of those experiences will lead you to the person that you are to be. We are all becoming, and something that you are becoming very good at. Listen, if you need a realtor, guess who else can help you? Guess what else she can do? Guess what else she has, rolled under her sleeves? Guess what else she can do? She can put you in your home, your new home, whatever property you would like. She can help you with. She's not only experienced in law enforcement, but my gosh, she is climbing the ranks of real estate as well. How did you get there, and how is it going?
Well, it started in law enforcement.
And it started there.
I had one of the deputies that was under my command. He was actually doing real estate as kind of a side hustle. Mm-hmm. And he came into my office one day and he was like, Lieutenant, if I can do this, he said to me, you can do this too. Mm-hmm. And what he did was he went in there and he spread out, he had like 3 or 4 checks that he just laid on the table. He said, Lieutenant, I ain't bragging. That's what he did.
Listen.
He said, Lieutenant, he said, I'm just showing you to show you,
right,
what's possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're working and this is what you know, this is what you do, you don't feel like anything else is possible.
Right.
You feel like, what else am I going to do?
This is it.
This is it. It's like, I didn't know that I could make money on my own. I didn't know that I didn't have to have a 9 to 5. I didn't know those things. And when he brought it to my attention, I was like, well, I'll try it because I got to do something. Because I am, clocking out at year 25. Right. So I started the school, the real estate school, prior to retirement because I just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way. Mm-hmm. I sat through, I think, 63 long hours after work doing that. And, I went and I took the exam. I took the exam 4 times before I passed it.
Just need y'all to hear that, okay? Because a lot of people want to be in real estate, but you don't understand how tough the test is. There are people who can pass it on 1 try, and that's great. But it's some people make it look so fancy and glamorous, and we're just gonna boom, 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 we're gonna knock it out. Listen, you gotta pass that exam first.
When I got out of that class, I was like, I don't know. I guess somebody else will do it. I don't think I'm gonna be.
We're spitting facts and spitting reality. Because I just want, because y'all, you sure enough know how to hit them headshots. And y'all be in the little dream homes. And I'm like, okay, come on, Gucci purse, Gucci belt. Well, I'm looking now. Listen, I'm looking.
You must have saw them Gucci's on somebody else. But anyway. But when I got out of that class, I walked out of that class for the last day, I was like,
yes.
I don't know if this. So I actually waited 18 months before I actually took the class. You only have 24 months to take the state exam. I said, well, Lord, I don't want to do this. I done paid all my money to go to this class. I'm gonna spend all these nights after work going to this class, and you finna do something.
Yes.
Something finna happen.
Yes.
So I went and I took the exam. I took it 4 times, and I felt good. And misery will come me sometimes because I had some other people say, girl, I took that thing 15 times, and no lie.
Yeah.
I had people telling me that they just took it over and over and over and over and over. So well, if they did it, I mean, I can retake it too.
Right.
And it took me 4 times. On the 4th try, I got my pass. And I said, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
So, and the rest has been history.
You make it look so good. You make it look so good. And listening to what you say, looking at the posts that you post, why do you love it? Why do you love it? Because I don't, here's what since I'm in education, I always get to tell students from my experience what to and what to not do. And I always tell them, because I built a careers 101 enrichment for them. And I'll bring in professionals who have different careers, and I'll ask them, let's start off with what you love. What do you love? And do you think that you can make a living out of that? Like I'll ask them to research what it takes to be that person, the training, the certifications, and then the salary. Because kids, that's what they look for. Sometimes they just want to be a professional athlete because they think they make so much money. But we looked up soccer players, and I'm like, you were very shocked that some of them make that little amount of money. So if that's the case, do you still want to be it? So when you listen to this, I'm challenging you, those of you who are becoming, you already know, because you're wise. You have some years and you have some wisdom underneath your belt. It is not always about the salary. It's about the purpose. It's about the impact that you are making, because I firmly believe once you find that, once you listen to that voice that God is trying to give you and speak to you, and he's leading you to your purpose, the money will come. I am not going to sit here and tell you that it feels good to live in that space, because it does not. I've been doing this podcast for over 2 years, and you don't see me in a Maybach. Listen, it ain't there yet. It ain't there yet. But the power of yet. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it's just glamorous. I'm not the one to tell you that. I am going to tell you that every day I can leave this podcast and say, wow, I introduced people who did not know Regina. They do know Regina now. Regina is probably going to open the door for someone who watched this podcast. She's going to go off and she's going to do amazing things. They're going to make connections. I know that once these cameras start rolling, the impact is out in the universe and God is making a way. Every single one of my guests. That's what I know. So that's my purpose. I want to get paid. That's my purpose, though, and it makes me feel great. So what do you get out of real estate? What is that feeling what causes you to get that feeling of, this is my purpose, I'm putting good out into the world?
Well, to be very honest with you, it was never real estate, nor was it law enforcement. I learned later on that my passion is people.
See? Yep.
It had really nothing to do with, because like I said, I never thought about going into law enforcement. Real estate was not a thought until somebody brought that to me.
Right.
And when you ask me what do I love about real estate, it's really the people. Because I think that is why I'm drawn back to, I mentor and tutor cadets now. I do that for free now. We want to change that. We want them to get paid.
Yes.
But it still is my love for people. In real estate, it's just a different way of seeing people. I get to see you win when you thought you couldn't.
Yeah.
I get to help you through a process that was foreign to you, that was so complicated, that was terrifying, that was, I don't know if I can do it. My credit score is this. I don't have much money.
Yeah.
I got kids. They grown now. But I had kids.
I have kids. See them right here. I've got kids.
You see so many people that feel like they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Or they were just going to, and there's nothing wrong with renting, but some people wanted to get out of that rental situation. They wanted to get into a home, but they just didn't think that they could. And for me, it's really not, I like to say I just love real estate, but I love the people that I get to serve.
And when you love it, you get to do a better job at it.
Right.
I just know that when I go at it again in real estate, because right now, we're still in the townhouse that I bought right out of college, And it's like, and it's so crazy because it's like my kids, it's nostalgic to them now. And it is nostalgic to me too, but I'm like, we need to grow. Like it's time for us to move on. Like they don't want to leave the pool. They don't want to leave the neighborhood. It's just because they're used to it. And I'm just like, I want a bigger closet. I want a bigger space. But you know, the market will dictate what you can and cannot do.
Absolutely.
And so having someone get all that personal information, and it's like that's the biggest investment that you will make, you know, of your life. One of the biggest, if not the biggest. And it's like you want somebody who loves what they do. You want somebody who's knowledgeable. You want someone who actually cares about you and your choices and your desires. And so all of her clients just look so happy. Like I love,
they are
you know,
happy.
the kid. Look, she's like,
and
they are.
They are. Because we got them to a place that they didn't, some of them just didn't, and some of them had the ability, they just didn't know they had the ability to do it.
Yes.
And it's just, you know, some people have been in a situation or in like just in a place where they just like, I ain't gonna never be able to do this. But it's just you need somebody to help you strategically plan. Sometimes it's taking people a year or 2 years to actually get into their homes. But stay the course. If you gonna stick with me, I'm gonna ride with you. Yeah. And we're gonna get it done. And when I send you to a lender, I'm gonna need you to do what the lender tell you to do.
Yes.
Stop playing. Do what the lender tell you to do.
Yes.
If they tell you to pay this off, pay it off. If they tell you to leave that alone, leave it alone. Don't go buy no cars. Don't go buy no boats. Don't go buy no houses. Don't co-sign for nobody.
No.
Do what I tell you to do.
Right.
And I'm getting my information from, you know, the classes that I've learned. I lean a lot on my lenders. So there's some steps we got to take, but we can get you there.
Yes. Yes. So listen, this is a journey. Like life is a journey. All right. I don't want everybody to think that you just have to have it just figured out from A to Z. Some people do. Some people just are fortunate to just be able to map it out that way. And then some of us are on that course of finding ourselves, and making it happen and still living in our purpose. So Regina, what would you tell someone out there who's past their 30s and they're still trying to figure it out? From what you've gained from your experience, what would you share with them?
Shoot, 30s?
I know, right?
We're still young.
I know, right? Y'all, listen.
What is you talking about?
All right, let's do 45.
Let's back up to them 30s.
Let's back up to them 30s?
Get back to y'all first, because, I mean, while y'all are still young, your choices and your decisions that you make in your 20s are going to show up in your 30s. Those choices and decisions that you make in your 30s are going to show up in your 40s. Right. The choices and decisions that you make in your 40s are going to show up in your 50s, and so on and so forth as it goes. So make good choices. Get with people that can help you get the knowledge and information that you need. Get in the right rooms. Get with the people that's doing the thing that you want to do. Get away from people that's dragging you down. And sometimes the young people don't realize that, it's just my friend. They could be killing your purpose. Right. Absolutely. So find you somebody that's going to help promote you, that's going to help push you, that's going to send you in the right direction. I would tell young people, your mom and dad ain't as crazy as you think. Mm-hmm. They got good sense. A lot of them mean well. Listen to them. Yeah. And parents, I would say to you, pray for your children that if they don't listen to you, that they are running to somebody that they will listen to. And they hear you. They just ain't doing it yet. Just like you did. Remember how you was acting? Remember. Right. Remember how you was acting? You ain't listening. That's how the Lord does us as well. Yeah. He'll tell us something, and we'll just, Lord, not right now. Right. All right. Mm-hmm. Not right now. Not right now. Not ready. Right. I ain't ready. And that's just, that's the process. That's the process. It's all the process of becoming. And as you learn and as you grow and as you put yourself in the right rooms with the right people, you will begin to understand who you are and whose you are so that you can fulfill the purpose that God has put you for. I always tell my children, you are not here just for yourself.
Right.
If God wanted to just have you and just this whole thing be just for you, then guess what? There wouldn't nobody else be here. But all these different people around the world, what is your purpose? Why are you here? And what did you come to do? It's got to be something. Mm-hmm. You ain't just here just cause you cute. And you ain't always cute.
Not always. Not always. Listen, I love that advice. And that's how we're going to end this show. Like, that's how we're going to end it. Regina, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being my special guest. Like, I sit here, but I also learn. And I also listen. Like, I'm going to go back and watch this episode like 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm like, what did I miss here? But thank you. It's a blessing when I get to meet people outside of social media and then they live up to my expectation. Because you have done that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are so welcome. And so it doesn't have to be your last time, but you are officially a part of my Jazzy crew. All right. So listen, I want you guys to make sure that you go back and you catch the replay of this episode on YouTube because we're trying to grow this podcast in YouTube land. So make sure you subscribe to the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast on YouTube. Go to Instagram and your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe, like, leave me a review. Let us know how you love this episode. Let Miss Regina sell you your next home. If you would like to be in law enforcement and you just need some advice, I'm pretty sure she will not hesitate to help you out, all right? And if you need your services or your business advertised, I would love to help you with that by allowing you to get some ad space on my podcast. I would also love to host your next special event because I am also not only a podcast host, but an event host. So let me jazz up your event and I would love for you to book me. So until next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, make sure that you are setting those goals and make sure you understand that now is the time for a dope comeback. You can come back from anything with God, the right resources, the willingness to do the work. You got to use those resources very effectively. I will see you guys on next Monday. You guys have a good night.